Hello and welcome to the Geeks Review. I'm Royce.
I'm Matt.
I'm Jacob.
I'm Liz.
And today on this special 1 hour long episode of the Geeks Review, we're going to be discussing holiday movies, Christmas movies, good, the bad, and the ugly. That's not a Christmas movie, is it? It's a Western. Maybe one day we'll discuss topic of Westerns, but today we're talking about holiday movies. And who would like to get us started on this magical journey of wonder and horror?
Well, ever since I was a child, I really loved The Grinch. And I'm not just talking about one, I'm talking about the franchise, because there's lots of facets with so many adaptations. When I was 10, my school did a play version of The Grinch, and my mother made me green furry gloves with really long curly fingers, and I had green face paint on, and I sang You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch, completely a cappella as a 10-year-old who couldn't sing. And that was the start of my acting career. But I think The Grinch is a beautiful story. The original Dr. Seuss book is just a clean criticism of capitalism. You know,
Always good to see.
Yeah, always. The Grinch hates Christmas, doesn't know why, so he gets rid of it because he just thinks it's all the material stuff. And all the people are like, hey, I still love you and love Christmas. And he's like, oh, I was wrong. And then he loves Christmas. And it's short and sweet. And then there's an iconic 1966 cartoon that basically just follows the exact structure of the book, beat for beat. And was the first time the Grinch was actually green. He was white in the book.
He was.
But one that I absolutely cherish is the 2000 Jim Carrey film. The performance of Jim Carrey, the fever dream of the visual aesthetic, the musical numbers, and all of it, I just loved it. As a child, obviously, I liked it more than I perhaps would have if I'd come to it as an adult. But it's something really interesting trying to adapt a 60-page picture book into a 2-hour film that keeps shoving in little character bits like, you know, the Grinch was an orphan, no parents, and he was bullied as a child, and there's a mayor who's in love with a woman who the Grinch is in love with, and there's a love triangle, and Cindy Lou Who is the only girl who isn't obsessed with capitalist Christmas, and the film has some flaws. But what do you guys think? Have you all seen The Grinch 2000?
I have seen the 2000 Grinch, and I must say, it's not a perfect film, but the visuals are astounding. Jim Carrey's performance was stellar. I loved it. Mm-hmm. Is it a objectively fantastic film? No. Is it an incredibly enjoyable Christmas film? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
But there's also something to be said about the Grinch character. It could be argued that, yes, it's about the spirit of Christmas, but it could also be argued it's about mob mentality and how in the end he caves into it and becomes part of the mob.
This is true.
So it could also be seen in that way. So it's either a happy ending or a sad ending, depending on how you look at it. Because the Grinch himself is quite a sympathetic character. He's grumpy, he's an outcast, he looks different, so everybody was always like, oh, he's bad and evil. And probably bad and evil because he looks different and gets outcast by society.
Yeah.
In the end, they accept him after he agrees to be like them.
Yeah, true. And in the film, something that's interesting, because in the book, all the Who's just knew that Christmas doesn't come from a store. But in the film, the Who's are all swept up by this capitalist stuff as well.
It's very commercial.
Yeah, and like Cindy Lou, the child, is the only one who's like, Christmas is about family, and they start to agree, kind of, and they sing one song, and then the Grinch comes back and gives their presents back, and they're all happy again. But you got to wonder, like, if he didn't bring the presents back and stuff, would they actually have stayed happy, or would they have continued to be upset about it? I don't know.
Exactly. Was bringing the presents back the right choice? Because all it's doing is sending that back to the status quo again.
Yeah.
They lost nothing in the end.
He lost his individuality.
Exactly, and that is a tragedy. But there was a very cute dog, so that was good.
Yeah, what do you think, Lee?
I was 15 when it came out, so not something I really, really wanted to see, and it's not something that I've had I think I just missed the window of...
I will say it is a movie better watched as a child.
Yeah.
You need that childlike innocence to really bring it in. Watching it for the first time as an adult, you'd be like, this is a bit silly.
Yeah. Not that I don't love kids' movies, but Yeah, no, at the time it came out, I was too busy like getting my tongue pierced and and being a 15-year-old girl.
It is very quintessential Jim Carrey too, so you got to
Yeah.
take that when you go into it.
Who directed it?
Ron Howard.
Ron, really?
Ron Howard.
I do enjoy Ron Howard's stuff, so I might give it a go. But yeah,
If nothing
can't
else,
say it's one that's ever really.
if nothing else, it's the visual design.
Yeah,
Oh, it's stunning to watch. Very
Bringing
interesting.
Dr. Seuss to life visually with actors. Incredible.
It's definitely carried across every other adaptation since, even into the CGI stuff, like the recent,
I
Benedict
watched that
Cumberbatch
this
one.
week.
What was that like?
Well, there were some great visual gags in there. It was, I think, the visual gags of that film, very Dr. Seuss. Like, there's a bit where the Grinch gets out of bed and he goes to the bathroom and there's a weird hollow wooden shape, the exact silhouette of his body with, like, prongs inside it. And he walks through it and it's a full-body comb. And stuff like that. And they also, because it's a 2-hour film from a children's book, they tried to inject more story and things into it.
It was a very long film, I remember thinking as a kid. And then looking at it now, it's just under 2 hours. The live action one
Yeah,
is the CGI one long as well.
it's like an hour and a half.
Ah, yeah, it's more reasonable.
But a mistake I think they made is the Grinch is very... Like, it's important the Grinch is sympathetic, as you were saying, Jake, as he is in the Jim Carrey one. But in the Cumberbatch one, like, he does some mean stuff, like knocking a jar of jam off someone's shelf or, like, telling someone they're stupid. But when you see him at home, he's nice to his dog. He kidnaps a reindeer and then lets him go when he sees his family. So, and, like, it's a sympathetic character, but it makes the turnaround... It makes the realization, it makes it less powerful because he was already nice. It's just like he made a small realization.
He was more curmudgeonly than outright antisocial and nihilistic as he is in the Jim Carrey movie at the start.
Nihilistic.
I mean, let's be honest here. The Grinch is an icon of nihilism.
Grinch nihilism.
And it's really fully Jim Carrey. It's like he just goes insane in that film. And I think it was the first time I saw him. And then, like, everything else is just like... lesser than that, because it's like he's built towards that. He's just
in
insane.
the 2000 in the Jim Carrey one, Jim Carrey, we know him for his rubber face, but he was wearing a literal rubber face, and he had to act through that.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it doesn't even look like he's going over the top, or doesn't even look like it looks real. It's stunning. The visual effects hold up so well.
I think that was less reliance on CGI that would be dated in quite a few years and more practical effects.
Yeah.
Most of the stunts and stuff was made as a set, not just put in after the fact.
Puppets and things.
Exactly, so you can actually act off that, and it's a
Yeah.
lot more enjoyable to watch.
The CGI in that film is skies, background landscapes. That's what CGI is meant to be used
Little
for.
things.
Enhancing, not the focus.
Same reason nothing's topped the first Jurassic Park in all the Jurassic Park movies.
But yeah, it's also a good cast. I mean, Christine Baranski,
Yeah.
Molly Shannon, Bill Owen,
Yeah.
Jeffrey Tambor. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah.
What have you got?
If we're going Christmas movies for now, I'm going to have to say Jingle All the Way, which was a movie starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Austrian heartthrob. Basically, the premise of the movie is he needs to get a doll for his son for Christmas, or his son will despise him for the rest of his life, because that's how parents' minds work. The doll is a Turbo Man, and there's only one left. He has to fight another man for it, and through the course of the film, he gets hold of a Turbo Man costume. Now, I want to point this out. This is just a promotional costume to promote the toy. But for some reason, it is fully functioning and gives him all the powers of Turbo Man.
Yeah.
Who he then fights the other man who was looking for... I can't remember who acted in. He was fantastic.
Sinbad. Yeah.
Thank you. He was fantastic in it, surprisingly. But Sinbad finds the villain version of the costume, which is also, for some reason, fully automated and gives him all the powers of the villain. And they just have this nonsense fight in a Christmas parade. And the movie just ends with the kid getting the doll.
Yeah.
But the doll being his dad, because his dad is Turbo Man. That's the Christmas present he needed all along, was his dad to be Turbo Man. It's not an award-winning movie, but it's a very special movie to me, and I do think it's fantastic, and it is peak cheesy Schwarzenegger.
It is that. It's funny, commercialism is kind of the main theme of these two.
Well,
Welcome to Christmas.
welcome. To
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. And I remember there was criticism of Jingle All the Way for that. I'm just like, well, no, that's the reality.
Every single movie that has featured Christmas has in some way featured commercialism.
You had Phil Hartman in that film as well, of Troy McClure from The Simpsons.
That's right.
And News Radio and all that stuff. And a young Jake Lloyd, Anakin Skywalker himself.
Was he the son?
Yeah, he was the son.
Oh, of course.
Poor Jake Lloyd.
Of course it was him, yeah.
Yeah, always got to have a Star Wars reference in this show.
I think the message is stunning. Like, it's a very over-the-top way to get the message that, family is important. Christmas is about being with your family. And I think the action figure and the parent being dedicated, I think it's all absolutely gorgeous. And it's not... It especially works. You wouldn't expect it to, but it especially works because of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you'd think maybe you'd cast. First of all, I'd expect them to cast an American. I'd expect them to, but a bit smaller, a bit more clean cut, a bit more of a dork. Like Rick Moranis or something. Kind of thing for this role,
Exactly.
The way he acts in the film, but it's Arnie, this huge man with a Russian Austrian accent, and he just loves his son and does whatever he can for him, and I think it's beautiful.
And it is always entertaining to see a man the size of Arnold Schwarzenegger pretending he's just a normal suburban dad. It's like anytime you see The Rock in a movie playing anything that isn't a professional wrestler or soldier, it's like, no one believes you, Dwayne.
Yeah.
At least they covered Schwarzenegger up in this. I know there's snow in that, but he didn't stand out to me when I saw this as a kid as like being big muscle man.
Yeah.
He's just sort of looked like a big, normal-sized man.
He had very dad
Tall.
clothing and
Yeah.
everything as well, which helps.
He's a carpet salesman or something like that.
Yeah.
Curtain salesman.
My turn.
Yes.
I can't go past Christmas Vacation, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. For me, I saw it as a kid and I've watched it every year. And I don't know, it makes me piss myself laughing every single time I watch it. And it does have that message that family's all important because, Clark just wants to do this big old-fashioned family Christmas. But it also speaks to me because his family are just, do we have to? Like, really? do it? From the first scene when they're in the car and he's singing along and, he goes, take it, kids. Silence. It just, yeah. And it's got some of the best examples of slapstick. Him in the attic. I think my favourite part of the whole movie is just when he's going to hide the Christmas presents and he pulls the you know how they have those hatches in the ceiling to go down to the attic and the ladder comes down. He pulls it, bang, ladder straight in the face. It's just got beautiful, beautiful examples of slapstick and of course Clark's rants. I don't know how many of the vacation movies you've seen, but just at the climax there's always Clark going on one of his massively long-winded rants and it's just beautiful to watch. But yeah, I like a good laugh. And plus it's got a really little Johnny Galecki in it.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah, he plays the kid.
Oh, yes.
Rusty.
Yes.
Tiny wee little. And Juliette Lewis as
Oh,
the
wow.
daughter.
Yeah, they changed those kids out every movie, didn't they?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kids are pretty interchangeable, to be fair. So I change mine every year.
How long was it, like 3 years between each movie?
Ooh, I couldn't
dear.
tell you that. I know.
Because it could have just been the kids grew up.
Yeah.
Are they playing the
I
same
think-
characters?
Yeah, Rusty and Audrey.
Right.
I
they're
remember
all
they
the same
had
kids.
Anthony Michael Hall in one.
Yeah, in the first
and I was
one.
like, oh, nice. I recognise him. And then it was just like, Vacation was 83, European was 85, Christmas was 89.
89. Right. I was
So
a bit
a
wrong
few
there.
years gap between each. And when you're that
Yeah.
age
And
group,
Vegas Vacation was 97.
Yeah. That's
Christmas
got a
Vacation
young...
too.
Oh, we won't talk about
Yes,
Christmas
we won't talk
Vacation
about that
too.
one.
It's terrible. It's got, what's his name? Is it Randy Quaid who played Cousin Eddie?
Yep.
Yeah. Sorry. I was just in my own little world. I need to go watch that movie again.
it is the season for it.
It also has one of my fondest memories of my mother. We were watching it together and we'd seen it a million times together. And for some reason, the line during his rant, "We're going to have the happiest Christmas since Bing Crosby tap danced with Danny F and K," and for some reason, it just struck my mum, and she, when you just can't stop laughing. For about half an hour, she was like nigh on piercing herself laughing, even so much so that she had to go to the toilet and I could hear her cackling from the toilet. So I'll always have that fond memory of my mother nearly dying just from that line.
Do you think that line's that funny?
I don't think it's that funny. For some reason, it just struck my mother. My favourite line I've got a couple of favourite lines out of it. It's when he's in the office at the beginning and he's shaking everyone's hand. And they're all he's like, "Merry Christmas, kiss my ass, kiss his ass, kiss your ass, Happy Hanukkah."
That's Chevy Chase, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Big man.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus, isn't it?
Yes, she plays the bitchy neighbour.
Naturally. Elaine from Seinfeld.
I've been watching Seinfeld. Everyone sucks. I hate everyone.
I hate the show.
That is the point of the series.
Yeah, I get it. I love the show. I just hate all
it's
the
entertaining,
characters.
but you watch it and you go in there, I'm going to despise every character, and you love it.
Yeah.
It's like watching, what's it called? Always Sunny in Philadelphia. You don't watch it because you like the characters, you watch them to see them suffer.
Yeah.
Which does bleed very nicely. We've sort of gone in a nice sort of, we've had a pretty good run where everything is sort of blended into the next topic. You've kind of got the capitalism, commercialism of the Grinch, which is, of course, one of the main things of Jingle All the Way. And then there's the true message of family, which is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. And, you've got Clark, who's obsessed with Christmas, loves Christmas. Everyone's sort of sick of it. And also mentioning Danny DeVito, I have to talk about Deck the Halls, which came out about 15 years ago. It's Matthew Broderick, and he's the Christmas guy in his small town. And he loves Christmas, his family can't, whatever. Yeah, Danny DeVito and Kristen Chenoweth move across the street. And
They're married?
Yes, they're married.
Really?
Whoa, very power couple.
Massive deal is made out about them being married. Like, there's a joke, it's like, "Oh, how did you two meet?" "Oh, we were at an art, a life drawing class." "Oh, he was an artist." "No, he was peering through the window at me."
Look, I'd marry Danny DeVito.
Yeah, he's a sex god.
You have to fight. Was it Rhea Perlman?
I'll take it out. He's mine. Fuck off, bitch.
And he's got two
she's a
identical twin daughters who are also very attractive, and a big deal is made about that. And it's kind of like, what's the deal?
Are they the Olsen twins?
No, they were another pair actually.
There's another pair of attractive-looking twins.
That's the thing. They must be breeding them somewhere.
In a lab. It's a Nazi
I was going to say in a
experiment.
lab, yeah.
There was that Nazi town of just twins. So.
Oh dear.
Nazis.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Because it's the mid-2000s, technology is the thing. So his daughters pull up Google Earth and they go, "Oh, look, you can see the neighbour's house on Google Earth. This is a live feed, but we can't see our house." So Danny DeVito gets some Christmas lights and he puts them up on his house. And it's like, come pull up Google Earth so I can see my house. "Oh, I still can't see it, Dad." So he goes insane, Danny DeVito, buying Christmas lights, decorations to decorate his house. It's just this massive glowing beacon and still can't be seen from space, apparently.
That's not how Google Earth works.
It's driving Matthew Broderick mad because, now Danny DeVito's like taking over Christmas and taking it from him. And there's a scene where they're both naked under a blanket rubbing each other. Matthew Broderick fell in the lake and then they were transporting him into the hospital and he was rubbing him down, was Danny DeVito. To keep him warm.
All we need to do is just latch onto him like a koala. He'll be fine.
He is very koala-esque, isn't he?
Furry little bugger.
He is. And there's very just sort of strange scenes. Like, you got sort of these caper movies where it's like you got just scenes that just happen because, like, oh, that's funny, let's chuck it in. And there's a scene where there's like a Christmas parade and these three attractive ladies, like sort of wearing, the Mean Girls, Jingle Bell Rock sort of dresses, get up on stage and they're dancing. And Matthew Broderick, trying to one-up Danny DeVito, is like, "I'm going to start saying lewd comments about these women on stage." And they start competing with each other, saying things to each other. And they're saying, "Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy?" And the women spin around and it's their daughters.
Oh.
It's like, oh no, I'm your daddy. And then
that's a problem.
cut to them washing their eyes out with holy water in the church.
This is why you don't sexualize younger women.
Yeah, it's
Well, one of the many.
Yeah, that's the only reason.
Only risk.
Because they
Just
might
in
turn out
case.
to be yours. Didn't stop Trump, did it?
Oh, God.
There we go. I brought up Trump.
Here's your one per list.
that's at least he's gone. Let's not speak too.
But he still left a stain, didn't he?
Right on the
big orange
church.
one.
No amount of bleach will ever get that out.
But yeah, Jingle All the Way. It's not Jingle All the Way.
Oh, we're going back on.
No, what's it called?
Deck the Halls.
Deck the Halls. Yes.
Yeah, and it's a bit sappy towards the end. I guess
Oh,
that's
they
just
always
Christmas
are.
movies.
They're Christmas
Yeah,
movies,
it's
yeah.
Christmas movies.
They kind of have to be.
Speaking of sappy, and it is the most cliche Christmas movie that came out after the year 2000. But Love Actually.
Oh yes.
Did not actually love it.
I love it.
I like it.
I love the message of love
Actually,
in all its love. Actually, is everywhere.
it does have a stellar cast, must be said.
And also they introduced a whole heap of people who probably have never heard of Joni Mitchell to Joni Mitchell. Thank you. But yeah, it is a movie about love, but not all just romantic love. I think one of my favourite stories within it is the American chick who's in love with the guy in her office, but she has a brother with special needs.
It was Laura Linney, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, and she's finally getting together with this guy who she's been in love with for ages, but she chooses to be with her brother because that love is more important.
Yeah.
And it's the love of family, it's the love of friends. And I don't often get sort of sappy, but you've got the Beach Boys and you've got all the pictures of people at the airport and I'm gone.
See, there's some cringe in Love Actually. As
Oh,
well.
yes, there is some major
Not the
cringe.
good cringe, the bad cringe.
I know the bad cringe.
There's creepy stalking.
There's a lot of creepy stuff.
There's Colin Firth's story where he can't speak the same language as his maid, but he loves her. How do you love her?
Unspoken.
You have not spoken to her. And he tracks her down and, in a very public way, proposes to her.
Never
Public
gonna do.
proposals, don't do that. Terrible
Never.
thing.
I'm not saying it's a perfect movie,
No.
but I'm just saying that I kind of like it.
I liked it when I like it like it's and the thing is, some of the stories are genuinely nice, like the one about the disabled brother and the one about the adult actors, Martin Freeman.
Yes. Oh my God, yes.
That's cute. And Chris Marshall's character, like fetishizing American women and then getting rewarded for it. It's just really and Liam Neeson teaching his son to obsess and fight and posture and grand gesture and chase this girl at his school, and she's leaving for another country, it's over, guy. But he chases her down at the airport and goes, "So we'll chat later," and she's like, "Yeah, when?" What? Not a good life lesson for your son, Qui-Gon.
It's sorry. It's polarizing. On the one hand, there are some very genuinely touching stories, and they had some atrocious ones with very bad messages. And I suppose if you cut a movie in half and took out the creepy ones, it'd be a lovely little short film. You're like, oh, that's nice. Like Lou said, it is nice to see a movie that focuses on more than just romantic love. Because most movies in Hollywood and stuff, it's all about romantic love, as in that's the only love that matters, or familial love between your family, that's the only one that matters. It's nice to see. It'd be good to see more platonic love and all that.
Yeah.
Well, I do want to mention, because I saw online a year or so ago that Bill Nighy's character was gay, and I thought it was just a platonic sort of friendship love that he had with his friend.
I think that's people just being...
Yeah.
Nah, I think
Is that
that's
gay?
just...
Or is it J.K. Rowling coming in after the fact 3 years later and saying, oh, yeah, they were gay all along?
Yes, that I would
Yeah.
say it's that. But no, it's
Or J.J.
this
Abrams.
is his oldest friend. It's his oldest friend. It's the closest thing he's had to family throughout his entire career.
Yeah, that's what I thought, yeah.
For anyone out there, platonic love can be just as important as romantic or familial love. It's what you make of it.
Yeah.
If your friend is close to you than is more friendly to you than your actual family, that's totally good.
Yeah.
It is good to have that kind of friendship with another human being. It doesn't have to be romantic. It can just be two people who care about each other on such a deep instinctual level. And that's a beautiful thing. And I think more movies need to capitalise on that.
I think as well, I just wanted to say with the cast, I mean, Colin Firth, Hugh Grant, Martin Freeman, Joanna Page from Gavin and Stacey. I just want to say very quickly about the Gavin and Stacey Christmas special last year. What was the point if they're not going to do anything to follow it up? Gavin and Stacey, you know, it was sort of a good show about a Welsh girl and an English boy meeting each other, falling in love. And it ended about 10 years ago, and then they did like a reunion special and then just left it on a cliffhanger, and they're just like, we're never going to do anything with it.
Is that the James Corden show?
Yeah, it was what James Corden was in before he was, you know...
James Corden.
And then unfortunately he's not popular. They can't get rid of James Corden.
Go away, James Corden.
Shoot.
Two little cast members, actually, of Love Actually that went on to do bigger things. January Jones from Mad Men and X-Men plays the American girl. And Rodrigo Santoro is the hot man that Laura Linney's trying to get with. He went on to play Xerxes in 300.
Huge man.
He's a very tall boy.
And he's also Hector from Westworld, which is cool.
And the kid was in Game of Thrones.
Oh, yeah.
Did he die?
I think he was one of the wildling boys.
Nanny McPhee and Thomas Sangster.
Yeah.
And he still looks like, 10 years old.
Was he in Maze Runner as well?
He might have been. Yeah.
It's that he's now very tall and lanky, but his head hasn't changed.
He was Latimer from Family of Blood. And
yes, that boy.
Yeah.
That guy.
Yeah.
That boy.
The boy.
Well, are we limiting this to Christmas or any holiday?
Any holiday, really. I mean, Easter might be a bit out of place, but,
Around, like, Thanksgiving.
Planes, Trains and Automobiles, if you want to go there, but I haven't actually seen all of that.
Well, I was going to say, that's John Hughes, isn't it?
It is.
Are we not forgetting Home Alone?
Oh,
sure.
Excellent point. And also one of the film debuts of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
He was in number 2, wasn't he?
He was indeed the Christmas one.
Yes.
Well, they're both Christmas ones.
The whole premise of it is set at Christmas.
Very, it was like big, massive commercialised malls and massive toys. And Donald Trump putting away. And
First one wasn't so capitalist, was it?
it wasn't quite as much.
No,
it was
it
more
wasn't
just
at
him
all.
screwing with a couple of robbers. Classic, by the way. First Time Alone, classic. Second,
Amazing.
classic. The rest shouldn't have happened.
No, they shouldn't.
The first one doesn't even need to be at Christmas, does it?
It doesn't. It's just a vacation movie. His parents go on vacation and forget him.
Yeah.
And it is a fantastic movie. It's fun to watch it. And Macaulay Culkin's brilliant in it. And Joe Pesci's brilliant in it. Tall boy whose name I can't remember is brilliant in it.
I can never remember that guy's name either. Curly-haired man. Marv.
Yeah.
I
Iron
don't remember the
Face.
actor's name, but they're both fantastic.
it
I
was
like
right
he
on. Someone
did
look
a
it up.
video.
Look it up.
He did a video a few years ago where it's like I reunite with my Home Alone castmate after years, and he's there in his garage and he's got his shirt off and he's like got a bucket on the ground, and he lifts it up and there's a massive tarantula under there. And I remember the top comment was, "I thought Joe Pesci was going to be."
Well, he's small and hairy. It's fine.
Fun little trivia fact: in the movie when Joe Pesci bit Kevin McAllister's finger, he actually bit it to make it more realistic, and Macaulay Culkin still has the scar.
Oh, really?
Wicked.
Amazing.
Daniel Stern.
Yes,
That's it.
Daniel
Thank
Stern.
you.
Isn't Catherine O'Hara in it as well? Does she
She's
play the
Kate,
mother?
the mum.
Yeah, she is.
And
I
John
can
Candy.
watch
What a terrible mother. Terrible family in
She
general.
gets cast as terrible mothers all the time.
She had just a
Like
terrible
she's
mother.
also the mother in
She may be.
Beetlejuice.
Yes. Another
Yeah.
classic. Does that count as a Halloween movie? Can we count that as a Halloween movie?
I class it.
Let's count that as a Halloween movie, because that's a classic.
You could then go on to say that Edward Scissorhands is Christmas-ish because it's...
It has a very... I think it's the Tim Burton thing as well.
Yeah.
You put Tim Burton and snow, it just kind of feels like Christmas.
Well, it also is at Christmas.
Yeah. Oh, is it?
Which, yeah, that
Yeah,
kind
I
of-
did not. I
end of
watched
the
it the
film
other
is
day and I
Christmas.
didn't.
So, yeah, that's very much Christmas.
One of the
movie.
shots that is always stuck with me from Edward Scissorhands. I watched it recently. It's a great film, but one of the shots that's always stuck with me is the father on the roof. It's a long shot, so you can see his full body, and it's looking up at him on the roof. And he's putting fake snow on the roof, and he's just going, "I saw the ships come sailing in," with a staple gun. And then it rolls down, "On Christmas Day, on Christmas," gush. There's so many incredible shots in that film. Like all the all the Tim Burton stuff, you know.
It's a very well shot movie.
But that's a shot that has always stuck with me.
It's a classic, absolutely.
The bit that stuck with me, because I saw it as a kid, and it probably shouldn't have stuck with me, is when the slutty woman takes him
Into the back
into
room.
the hairdressers and is using his scissor fingers to cut open a dress, and that's what stuck with me as a kid.
I always
Merry Christmas.
I
Here's your
never
gift.
would have put my
Sorry.
I never would have put my adult bits near Edward Scissorhands.
No, he's a very innocent, very doesn't know what sex is character.
Yeah. And it started Johnny Depp playing pale weirdos.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Speaking of Tim Burton, holiday movies involving Tim Burton in some way, my personal favourite, bit of a cliche, but I love it, Nightmare Before Christmas.
Knew that was coming. I was going to mention it
He
too.
didn't even direct that.
No, he didn't, but he was involved in it,
Yeah.
obviously, but in more of an aesthetic sense.
Yeah, it was his idea, I think.
Yeah, it was his mind, maybe, but he didn't direct it. But
Yeah.
it was a Tim Burton movie.
It's him, yeah.
Let's be honest here.
It's him.
It's a classic. It's fantastic.
Danny
The music's
Elfman does
great.
the music.
Yes.
It's a
and
Tim Burton
Danny-
film.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I think
And
he actually sung.
He
yeah.
sang Jack Skellington.
Yeah.
Yes, which also brings me to Corpse Bride. I know it's not a holiday movie, but it's connected because that's also Danny Elfman, and Danny Elfman is Bone Jangles in that. Singing Skeleton, which is fantastic. And just Danny Elfman, brilliant composer, love his music. And Not Before Christmas is that's my Christmas movie to watch. Traditionally. Because
My
it's
Christmas
Halloween and
music
Christmas.
to listen to.
Yeah. It's a classic. The music's great. The acting's great. The stop motion models are fantastic. It's just I love watching that movie every year. Still can't get sick of it.
You, I mean, obviously it doesn't really hold up the story. It doesn't make sense, but the idea that Frankenweenie, Corpse Bride, and
Not Before Christmas, all the same guy.
it's all the same guy and the same dog. It doesn't
is-
make sense at all.
But it is a very cute little theory.
It's just, I don't know, Tim Burton has a thing for dogs.
Dead dogs.
Dead
is
things in
sad.
general, I think.
Stop motion
Yeah.
dogs.
Yeah.
Just like his marriage.
Hey.
They're still on good terms as well.
I know. I read an interview with her the other day. I've been in love with that woman since. You remember the Merlin miniseries
Yes.
with Sam Neill, because she plays Morgan Le Fay.
That's right.
And I saw her and who is this magical creature? I love her. And then, yeah,
Helena Bonham
Helena
Carter
Bonham
is like Johnny Depp. She can no longer be a character. She's just Helena Bonham Carter.
she's also the
And that's totally
only
fine.
actress I've ever non-Australian actor, only non-Australian actress I've heard do a convincing Australian normal Australian accent like I am speaking now.
Not
What was that
ridiculously over
in?
the top.
Cannot remember. It's an Australian movie. Look up Australian movie with Helena Bonham Carter.
I got confused as well when you went and said like Merlin Camelot because I'm like, oh, you mean the one? Oh, okay, no, you mean the one with Sam Neill, and then you said Morgan, and I'm like, hang on, Eva Green, because she was also Morgana. And,
Yeah. Who else did it have? James L. Jones played The Rock, in which Excalibur was put. Miranda Richardson, she's always in those things. Martin Short played Frick. God,
If
who
we're
else?
bringing up
Isabella Rossellini as well. Sorry.
If we're bringing up Martin Short, Christmas movies, third installment, second installment, first installment, The Santa Claus.
Yes.
What have we got to say about The Santa Claus?
I unironically love the first movie.
Same.
I enjoyed the second. Could do without the third.
I had the biggest crush on Barnaby.
the
Oh
elf
my
that
god,
was.
yeah. The guy who plays. What else has he been in? He's in Adam's Family Values. He's that dude. He's also in Numbers. Very Jewish looking dude.
Oh, the guy with the dreadlocks.
Yes.
Oh, him.
Yeah.
I was thinking of Curtis, the really young elf.
No, I'm
not
talking
him.
about the older one with the dreads. But no,
Yeah.
I've always, because of that movie, I then have a crush on him in anything he's in. Because I just see him as this funky, dreaded elf.
I love the Santa Claus movies, another series of films that I grew up watching like every Christmas. Haven't watched them for a while now, actually, but you know, like obviously, if you really think about it, Santa Claus, red coat, Coca-Cola guy, didn't really exist till the 20th century. But you know, you're meant to think, oh, he's just been around forever, and it's just really interesting idea that Santa is passed down from like person to person. But one thing that's always annoyed me about films like the Santa Claus and Elf and stuff is Santa's real and Santa delivers presents, but no adults believe in him.
Yeah.
Where do they think these presents come from?
Yeah, I always wondered about that because they think people just leave presents for their kids without them knowing.
And
That's
that's
just fine.
And when I was a child, I had no reason to ever think Santa wasn't real. So it always confused me in these Christmas movies when adults were like, "Well, Santa's not real," and I was like, why would they say that?
Grown-ups are stupid.
Yeah.
Anything else about Santa Claus?
I love Martin Short as I love
Jack
him as
Frost,
Jack
wasn't
Frost.
it?
I would
Yeah.
say he was.
I just love
the
Martin
standout part
Short.
of that movie. He was fantastic as Jack Frost. He was good fun to
I
watch.
think he was excellent, but yeah, and the Santa Claus movies are about family. As always, they're about family and how important that is, and rejecting capitalism and whatever.
But not too hard, or else you won't be able to make any money.
But what's interesting is the first film doesn't have a villain.
No, it's just the story of him turning into Santa Claus,
Yeah, and dealing with his family.
which is
and
kind of
how that
refreshing. It's
happens.
nice when a movie that doesn't just have a straight up just evil dude just there
Yeah.
being evil. It's
And then the
just-
second two, they couldn't work out where to take the story without putting in villains, like Plastic Santa in the second film, who scared the heck out of me.
Yeah.
That's where I got my movies mixed up. It was the second one I could do without. The third one I enjoyed. Plastic Santa was the one I was like, that's a bit strange.
I don't think
don't
I actually
think
finished the second one because Plastic Santa annoyed me too much.
He annoyed you. He didn't scare you. He just annoyed
Sort of,
you.
it's sort of like, oh, I can't deal with this crap.
I think Tim Allen does an amazing job.
Oh, yeah.
He does, yeah.
Back when he still gave it. Excuse the language.
Well, he doesn't do movies anymore. He came back for Toy Story 4, but he's not really, not
No,
really
he just
active.
kind of stopped.
I mean, he's probably made enough money now.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
He's probably tired.
Probably still receiving royalties.
Probably trying to
Yeah.
avoid any of the obvious, definite skeletons in his closet that he has because he's a Hollywood actor.
Maybe, yeah.
Very broad statement. but
But is it wrong?
I said it was broad, didn't say it was wrong.
Tim Allen Christmas movies, Christmas with the Cranks,
Oh,
Yes.
which I finally saw, and
Never
it's
seen
him and Jamie Lee Curtis play a married couple,
I love Jamie Lee
and with their only daughter away for the holidays, they decide they're going to skip Christmas this year and they're going to go on a cruise. However, an insidious cult masquerading as their friends and townspeople decide, no, yous cannot shun Christmas. We're going to torture you. It's Dan Aykroyd leading
Yeah.
it.
Cool.
Dan Aykroyd being what he was always, a creepy cult leader.
He's so scary in the
There's
film.
another actor
He's so
I used to have
scary
a
in real life.
huge
Have you
crush
seen him
on.
in interviews?
He's-
He's insane.
Aliens will not talk to us, especially after 9/11.
That is a Crystal Skull vodka. Let me talk about Crystal Skull aliens.
Have you had
Can't stop.
Have you had Aykroyd's Crystal Skull vodka?
No.
It's all fumes.
I figured. Just like Dan Aykroyd. Zinger.
It's- Yeah, but it's insane because it's just like, I mean, Tim Allen's character, he's kind of a douche in it. He's like, well,
No.
we're not going to celebrate Christmas this year. We're going to go on a cruise. And everyone's like, what is wrong with you? This is...
Tim Allen being a douche? No, never.
No, I
I
know.
think everyone in it was a douche.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's-
I think they're definitely well within their like that because the town is mainly upset because they won't put up their decorations and they won't host the Christmas party that
Yeah.
they always host. So the town are obsessed with tradition.
Yeah.
and they need their annual Christmas party, and it's not going to happen.
Throw your own month.
Yeah, well, but I think you'd be well within your rights to skip Christmas and go on a cruise if that's what you wanted to do.
Look, I've
Absolutely.
the last couple of years, my mother and I have stopped doing Christmas.
What is wrong with you?
I stopped doing Christmas when my grandma died. That's the
reminds me-
reaction you get.
Yeah.
It is true. Like, ever since grandma died, because grandma was sort of the one who hosted Christmas, and it doesn't feel like Christmas without her. And so I'll say, oh, mum and I don't do Christmas. I'll go, oh, why? And I'm like, dead grandma.
Yeah. And it's like, I mean, just like the characters in this, you should be able to do what you want.
Yeah.
And it's like, ugh.
I shouldn't have to guilt, like...
You shouldn't have to justify it.
Shouldn't have to justify my lack of Christmas spirit with a dead family member.
Yeah.
Yeah,
On the
you
topic of dead family members, though, in the movie... Sorry, this is a very dark segue.
That's all right. That's all right.
In the movie, one of the most darkest, most nonsense bits of it is just after Tim Allen has brought his enemy across the road down a peg, the old grumpy old bastard across the road. He brought him down a peg, and he finds that the old man's daughter has cancer. He's like, I beat you. I finally beat you. Then his wife comes and says, I'm so sorry to hear about your daughter who has cancer. And it's like, how is this a scene in this movie? Where did this come from?
All right, back to Tim Allen in his undies with a tan and Botox.
Oh, and bloody Jamie Lee Curtis there in her bikini, and the
That's not
bloody
a bad segue.
preacher's like looking at her tits.
But is she still like? Because Jamie Lee Curtis, like, she's got a bod.
She didn't look bad.
Yeah,
Right?
she doesn't look
It was
bad.
more the fact that it was the priest and the school children looking at her.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And it's like the priest is judging her, and it's like you're the creepy old man looking at her.
You're a priest. You can't.
Exactly.
No.
Priest of this.
You got no legs to stand on, motherfucker.
Oh, if I break them.
It was actually based. Sorry, it was based upon a John Grisham novel. You know, A Time to Kill and The Rainmaker.
I like A Time to Kill.
Time to Kill's good. Yeah.
I watch it at least once a year.
I need
There's
to
something
rewatch
wrong
it.
with me. But random Christmas movie that no one but I swear to God, no one but me has ever watched or heard of. It's a movie. It's just called Santa Claus, right? Not The Santa Claus, and it's got Dudley Moore and John Lithgow from 1985. Can't remember a whole lot about it except I know John Lithgow's the bad guy, and there's something to do with candy, and I'm pretty sure. Oh, I know. John Lithgow is trying to exploit Dudley Moore, who is one of Santa's elves, to make money.
I think I know
Capitalism.
this. Santa Claus the movie.
And I do remember John Lithgow being dropped out of a window at the end.
As John Lithgow deserves.
Yeah, I like John Lithgow.
It did
I
really
actually
kind of
like
freak
John
me
Lithgow,
out.
But he looks at the kind of guy who deserves to be dropped out of the window.
But yeah, it's all. I just remember like an almost slow-mo drop, like Alan Rickman's at the end of another Christmas movie, Die Hard.
The best one.
But there's, yeah, and I remember a pink candy and Dudley Moore being exploited. I did recently
sound good.
acquire the movie, but I haven't gotten around to watching it.
Obscure Christmas movie that I've seen is a Finnish horror film called Santa Claus. And there are, I don't remember a lot, I think I've trauma blocked it, but they're in Finland and it's snowing and they're like on a farm and it's like a father and the grandfather and the son and they hear some noises in the barn and they go in and there's a naked old man in there with a
Like
beard.
proper, like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to watch this.
But they keep they trap him like, what the hell are you doing? But like he's murdered a cow with his bare hands.
Santa Claus.
And they scream him up, but then he gets rescued by more naked old bearded men. And they take him out, and there's all these naked bearded men running through the snow, and they're like, "What the?" And so they're driving away in the family, and they come to this big airplane hangar, and they're like, "What the hell is going on?" And they go, and they've got shotguns and stuff, and like harpoons, and they go in, and all these old men are heading towards an enormous ice block that has a big shape inside it, and they're hacking at it with ice picks. They're trying to release something. And I watched it along. Well, I don't remember because the best part of horror is not seeing the monster. So
It's true.
they end up stopping the Santas from releasing whatever's in the ice block.
What's it called?
I can't remember. I'll sure I can find it, but I remember it ends with a scientific battery farm where they've trapped all the Santas on the hill, and it just ends with this big receding helicopter shot of all these naked old men in a pen on an icy hill.
That is fantastic.
Oh, I know what I'm doing tonight.
Oh, I need to see
After
this.
RPM, I'm going to
Brilliant.
watch it in the bath.
A cold bath.
No, I need a hot bath after
The Finns
RPM.
do a good horror.
Yeah, they do. Christmas movie, that's sort of a bit strange. Last Christmas, starring Emilia Clarke.
Oh yes,
Yeah, it's sort of, I don't know whether to discuss the spoiler or not. Because,
Literalism.
Yeah. It's
Is this a new one?
came out last year. It's directed by
Okay.
Paul Feig, you know, Bridesmaids and Ghostbusters.
Oh, I love Bridesmaids.
It's Emilia Clarke and Henry Golding from Crazy Rich Asians. And yeah, she plays a woman who was,
Obviously.
she works in like an all year round Christmas shop, and she had a serious illness the year before, and she's sort of, directionless in life. And it also starts with her like, as a choir member in in a church in Serbia, like in the 90s, and it cuts forward to now. And Emma Thompson plays her mum, and she's got like a put-on...
I love Emma Thompson.
She actually wrote it.
Oh,
She's got
really?
like a put-on Serbian accent, and it uses some George Michael music because it's named after George Michael, but it doesn't reference him much at all.
Yeah.
And, you know, she's down in the dumps, and then she meets this like manic pixie dream guy, Henry Golding, who sort of teaches her to...
How to live again?
Yeah, pretty much.
Ugh.
And it's quite nice. And I guess if you've sort of gone, like, just seen Emilia Clarke in, like, Game of Thrones or, like, Terminator or stuff, you're just like, oh, whatever. And in this, like, she's charming, she's lovely. Some people disliked her, but I think that's just old people just
So
disliking
she can
her.
actually act in this movie.
She can act, yeah.
I like her.
And there's a really nice scene which is really it's very emotional and sort of intimate. And I saw it in cinemas on the big screen, and it was like he's like cradling her in his arms, and she's like talking about this illness she had. And it's quite resonant as well, because I mean, Emilia Clarke, she's been sick, like she's had brain aneurysms and stuff, and sort of been quite open about that, and got like a brain aneurysm charity, and it's terrifying to think about that. She was like 24 when it happened to her. But then there's a twist to the film, and I don't know if I should say.
No.
Cover your ears. This is good. Spoiler warning. Cover your ears for 10 seconds if you don't want to spoil it.
Oh, okay.
Spoiler in 3, 2, 1.
Henry Golding is a ghost, and she had a heart condition, and it's his heart inside her chest, and she's
That's kind of cute.
Okay.
It's taking
Spoiler alert, over.
taking the lyrics of the song a bit too literally.
Oh!
Sorry, that might have.
Matt.
Yeah, Liz.
I thought you'd keep your ears in.
Yeah, Liz covered her ears for real, and it really annoyed me because I'd actually seen 2 films that had a similar sort of thing to it beforehand, and I was sort of like, fool me once, shame on you; fool me twice, shame on me. And then it was like the 3rd time it happened with this film, and I'm like,
I like it when you can't see the twist coming.
yeah,
Kind of the point of
Especially
twist.
with... Well, especially with horror movies these days, I think it's because I've watched so many
very
of them.
formulaic, too.
Nothing, even the ones that aren't like go against the normal formulas, I can still freaking pick it, even though it's a massive twist and it's done in a brand new way.
Also, I
I'm
want to
just
point
like,
out, nothing's been worse for horror than CGI.
yeah.
Horror movies just don't look scary anymore. They're all too clean.
Does The Thing count as a Christmas movie? There's a lot of
Yes.
snow.
Just by the way, the Finnish film I was talking about is called Rare Exports,
I thought it
Nice.
was that one.
A Christmas Tale.
I know that.
I'm
one.
gonna have to get on that.
Yeah.
I'm putting that on the movie recommendation. That sounds fantastic.
And to finish up today's very long episode, if we want to just talk about one horrific, bad Christmas movie, holiday movie you might have seen, if you can think of one.
Well, that was Christmas with the Cranks. We would have brought that.
I love Christmas with the Cranks.
I'm just trying. I can't think of any. I
Well,
mean,
the thing is, I don't watch bad movies. That's a lie. I do watch bad movies.
I
but
love watching bad movies. I saw a corker the other day. Dracula 3000.
Whoa.
Oh, it's got Coolio in it.
Oh, that's it's a lie.
The thing is,
Dracula
like,
in
with
space.
Christmas movies, you know going in that you're going to have to embrace the cringe.
I totally thought of another Christmas movie that I love.
What is it?
You guys feel free to hate it, and it is problematic, but Just Friends.
don't think I've seen
I
it.
haven't heard of that.
It's got Ryan Reynolds, Anna Faris, Amy Smart. It's about Ryan Reynolds was a fat kid in high school who was in love with his best friend, Amy Smart. Amy Smart sort of not rejected, but friend zoned him for life. And so Ryan Reynolds, 10 years later, he's this big record producer, and he looks like Ryan Reynolds, and he's dating the hottest female recording artist, Anna Faris, possibly one of my favourite Anna Faris roles ever. She's just over the top bubblegum airhead rock star.
Insufferable, is what you're saying.
So good. The movie's also got Chris Marquette. Have you ever heard of him? Did you ever watch Joan of Arcadia? He was in that. He's in Girl Next Door. He's one of those obscure actors that no one really knows, but I like. And so they hop on a flight, him and his psycho girl rock star person. They hop on a flight to go somewhere for Christmas because he hasn't been back to visit his family who live in like New Jersey or something. For like 10 years. And she, because she's a rocket scientist, puts a Tupperware container with alfoil in the microwave of the private jet, forcing them to land. and they land, big surprise, right near his hometown. So he goes back to stay with his family for Christmas and tries to goes through the process of wooing the girl who friend-zoned him so many years ago with just being a bit of a douchebag.
But while he's in a relationship.
Yeah.
That's not it.
It's I don't know what it is about it, but it's probably Anna Faris and the brotherly dynamic between Chris Marquette and Ryan Reynolds, and the mother is also hilarious. But yeah, it's got slapstick, it's got Ryan Reynolds being Ryan Reynolds, and it's got Anna Faris being Anna Faris, and it's a good giggle.
Awesome.
And oh yes, I know of this film, yes. And just to end on a negative note, I have to mention the infamous classic, the Star Wars Holiday Special.
No, we don't.
No. It's, you kind of say, like, you go into Christmas movies with the expectation that there's going to be cringe, that there might be something in it that's a bit cheesy, a bit, but it's Christmas, and you make exceptions. This is not one of those films. It's painful, it's like 120 minutes of Wookiees screaming at each other.
Not to mention that in the movie it's not actually Christmas, it's Life Day.
Life Day, yeah.
And also they butchered B. Arthur. You do not butcher B. Arthur.
Yeah, B. Arthur sings a song as she's the
while she pours liquid into a man's volcano head.
Yeah, Harvey Korman, was it? And
oh god, this movie was terrible.
It came out before Empire, didn't it?
1978, yeah.
But it did have an excellent Jefferson Starship music video in the middle of it.
Oh, that's great.
Doesn't save the movie at all, but
I need to see it. I haven't seen
you
it.
don't.
I
really do.
I tried to watch it. I
It's
tried.
atrocious.
I've never gotten past 40 minutes.
Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford forgot they were in it. I just blocked out his existence.
Carrie Fisher sings to the Star Wars theme tune.
Not well. I love Carrie Fisher, but she's not a singer.
She's no Debbie Reynolds.
No, it's not good.
It's just extended, far too long scenes that mean nothing to the movie. It's poorly acted. It's just Wookiees screaming, making Wookiee noise. It's just atrocious.
And everyone's like, "Oh, Boba Fett's in it," but Boba Fett's crap.
Grandpa gets porn for Christmas.
He does.
It's not officially porn, but it's porn.
Wookiee porn.
Yeah. No, it's an attractive lady who's like talking sensually to him, and he's like.
Chewbacca's son is scary.
He's
Chewbacca's son needs to be booted off the edge.
It's really weird. It focuses mainly on Chewie's family without Chewie for half the film.
Which I'm pretty sure isn't actually canon in Star Wars canon either. So.
Life Day is now, but there's elements of...
Has anyone seen the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special?
Not yet, but I will.
It's streaming on Disney+, so I'm
Yes.
looking forward to checking that out. I reckon that's going to be much more self-aware.
Oh,
yes.
So Lego's got a good track record so far.
Yeah.
I've not seen any Lego movie.
Oh.
A few of them are actually quite good, surprisingly.
Yeah.
That's what I hear. I hear that Lego movie is really good, but I'm just...
I was expecting the worst, but I was pleasantly surprised.
There are
like a-
great critiques of capitalism.
Yes.
And the Ninjago one was all right, actually. Justin Theroux and Jackie Chan as...
I miss Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
Give him back to us, China.
Anyway, on that bombshell, thank you for listening to this very long episode of the Geeks Review for Christmas Eve.
Sorry for swearing.
I'm not.
Hopefully some of these films sound interesting and you can track them down to watch tonight or over the Christmas day. Hope you all have a very nice year, and we'll be back in the future. Not too sure what with. Maybe with a Doctor Who review. Maybe back for the new year. We'll see how we go. Anyway, I'm Royce.
I'm Matt.
I'm Jacob.
I'm Liz.
And we'll see you next time. Bye for now.